This weekend, Tubi is changing their model, their structure. Known once for picking up movies that were either too independent that other streaming services weren't really interested in them and giving them a platform, or films that really nobody wanted to see. We now have the debut of a Spielberg movie onto Tubi. So this is going to be great, right? What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is Please Don't Feed the Children, directed by Spielberg, Destry Spielberg. So join my cult following here on YouTube. Click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's free. I promise. I don't have a Patreon and you can't. I'm not monetized. There's no way for you to subscribe to my channel. There are rules and regulations about how cool I have to be in order to do that, and apparently I'm not cool enough. You could make me cooler, though, by joining me on this, where other critics say that they go into things blind. I actually go into things blind, which dramatically affected my ability to enjoy Please Don't Feed the Children, which does not have audio description. Despite the fact that Tubi is completely capable of audio description, for some reason they choose not to do it for their original movies. This is their second original film so far this year that they've decided to platform as a Tubi original that does not have audio description, which is kind of disappointing because this is a horror movie and it's one of the hardest genres to try to pick up on without audio description. But since Tubi is infinitely convinced that this is how I can enjoy the movie, I will try to do this and explain why it didn't work. So, Please Don't Feed the Children. What is this? So Destry Spielberg is the daughter of Steven Spielberg. Yes, we are here now. Where I kind of feel bad for her because it's like, this is on Tubi, but like Shyamalan's daughter got like, Dakota Fanning and her movie went to theaters. So, I mean, even Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter, had Lisa Frankenstein last year. I don't know who she made mad, but like, this should not be on Tubi unless there's something that the world is trying to tell us. Like if you found out like a Martin Scorsese child had sent a film to Tubi, you'd be a little like, wait a minute. But everybody else seems to get their films to go to theaters. So I guess not really wanting to write off of the success of her last name, we have a film within the first 5 seconds lets you know that cannibalism is involved, but I don't think they make a whole lot out of the beginning premise of the movie, which also doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the world is that we're in this area where there was some sort of virus that started infecting the adults. We have like a young YA narrator, a nice little teen who's telling us all this stuff. And the virus hit and started killing off adults, but not the children. Like, the children were immune. And then kids started getting infected. So the logical solution in the brains of adults was that the kids must be the problem. So in this world, this weird dystopian, we rounded up all the children and put them into concentration camps. That's what we did in this world. It makes no sense, absolutely, whatsoever. But they were like, wait a minute, maybe the kids are the carriers. The kids are the reason why this is happening. I feel like we've done this before too, where there was a TV series where like nobody over a certain age was like, there was like an age, and like everybody else that was over that age had died off. I saw something like that. I can't remember what it was. So this is really the first concept to do that. And we did have Earth Abides, which was on MGM Plus, which was played with that a little bit because like humanity got wiped out, and then the few people who were immune started to have kids, but then it turned out that their immunity didn't pass to all of their children. So that kind of sucked, you know? I mean, we've dealt with this sort of thing before, but the idea that the kids are carriers for the virus, they don't really support that well enough. They kind of just jump over the cool part so that they can get to the rest of it, which is we have sort of our main girl, and she's trying to escape the camps. Uh, and she ends up doing that and then catching up with a group of kids, from what I can tell. I don't know how many there are. There are other kids in this movie. She's the main one there. So, and then she ends up, and I think her friends end up captured as well. They end up being captured by Michelle Dockery. I saw another review that didn't want to like bring that up. They're like, I don't want to tell you where this film is going, and it's like, it's kind of like most of the movie is here. The film abandons its cool dystopian plot really quickly, and then just becomes sort of like a horror house type of movie where you're in like one location and people are trying to escape from the location. So I guess it just establishes the fact that nobody's going to come help them. Adults are afraid of them. There isn't a white knight to come save them. The kids have to save themselves. Uh, Michelle Dockery is having a hell of a fucking time getting some good roles, but she's great in everything I see her in. You know, she was in Flight Risk earlier this year, and was one of the few things I praised about Mel Gibson. I was like, you know what? Thank you, Mel. I don't like to thank Mel Gibson. It's not, I didn't wake up on this side of the bed going like, I can't wait to thank Mel Gibson, but Michelle Dockery is an excellent actress who just doesn't get the right roles. She doesn't get leads. It's like people forgot about her. They're like, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know what her deal is, if she's not seen as being A-list or attractive or the right age, or like, I don't know what it is, but she's a terrific actress, and she proves both in Flight Risk and in this that she's far better than the material she's being given. So we also have Giancarlo Esposito here, although Michelle Dockery is arguably the more interesting and more pronounced character, as Giancarlo has a way of walking into roles that are very small and doing a lot with them and leaving. So yeah, things happen. I don't know. There are kids like screaming every once in a while. There are things that, you know, it's hard for me to, as like a blind person, to sit there and be like, I know what's happening in this scene. Like, they'll have a dinner sequence where Michelle is obviously not okay, like mental health wise, and the girl's sitting there and Michelle's off her rocker. Think like Kathy Bates in Misery, but like directed poorly. And I'm sorry. It's a little like that. Yeah. If Misery was a Blumhouse movie, I should have said that. I'm sorry, Desperate Spielberg. Uh, if Misery had been a Blumhouse movie, there's a lot of those vibes between Michelle and the main girl, and they're sitting at the table, and she's kind of like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but they've introduced the idea of cannibalism. I'm like, well, they do have these other kids. I'm like, are they eating the kids? Like, what are they eating? But I don't know. They have these scenes where like it sounds like she turns on a shower and then like the kid's screaming. I'm like, is it too hot? Is it not water? Like, what's happening? I don't understand. So like, audio description is a huge barrier for me in enjoying this movie. But like, taking that away, taking the little bits and pieces away that I couldn't I feel like the film starts off with this concept and then becomes a completely different movie. So like, the whole first 5 minutes of the movie are kind of unnecessary, because these kids could have stumbled into Michelle Dockery's house in just a regular world and then had a hard time getting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have found some kids who were like, I don't know, glamping in the woods, and then they stumbled across her house and shit, you know? Whoops. Like, I don't know that they do enough with the actual concept. And these people who, you know, are the kids the carriers, and are they not? And what's up with the cannibal aspect of it? it feels like it draws itself in really quickly because it's low budget. I'm sure it's low budget. I don't know what its budget is, but I'm positive it ain't big. So that it can be sort of a, a controlled atmosphere environment and not like a sprawling Hunger Games YA adaptation where it kind of feels like it should be. That's where it feels like it should be, is a well-funded production that actually explores the idea that kids are carriers in this weird horror world, and Michelle is just a speed bump, not the whole movie. Like Michelle is like 15 minutes of that larger movie, not the whole movie. But instead, this is what we get. I don't understand what drew Destry to this film. I guess I could say the same thing about, was it Indira Shyamalan? Did I get that right? He has two daughters. I don't remember which one directed what. The Shyamalan that directed The Watchers. I guess I could say the same thing about that. Like, I don't quite see, but I do kind of, because that film at least has vibes of the kind of weird shit that her father directs, where it's like there's like a mystery behind it and a lot of misdirection and twists and turns, and then the ending is something you don't see coming. Like, she's clearly trying to replicate the vibe that her dad gives off in films. Here, this isn't really, I mean, true, Spielberg started off with like Duel and then followed it up with Jaws. So I don't think, if she's trying to like show, well, my dad started with horror, so why can't I start with horror? But I don't know, because maybe this isn't your thing. Like, those films were well directed, had solid plots. They were also, well, Jaws was a well-funded film. I mean, like, it was a studio film. This is something that, fell to Tubi. So, yeah, I don't know that this is the best use of her name, and I don't know that this is going to do a whole lot for her moving forward, but people are going to continue to want to put Spielberg on it. So the fact that she's using her real name instead of some of these, I hate the term Nepo babies, but I'm just using it simply because you know what that means. But the sort of like next generation kids, there are some that are next generation, but you don't know that they're next generation because they don't have the same last name, especially if like the famous one in their family was the mom. So like Hannah Einbinder is not somebody who's immediately recognized as being a next generation talent, even though she is. So, yeah, she's not changing her name. She's directly associated, and she understands that the Spielberg name is what's going to get her films and going to get her budgets. But unfortunately, if she keeps directing films that are underfunded to where it seems like it's a bigger film than what she's able to direct, then it'll just feel like that she can't do the bigger thing, that she can only do the smaller thing. I don't know that this does much for her. I didn't really care for this movie, but I also don't like viscerally hate it. Again, props for the Michelle Dockery casting and for her pretty solid performance. I'm not going to say Michelle Dockery deserves an Oscar this year for her work, but she's been given two roles where you can't really say they're bad performances. They're just not in great movies. And at least if people watch them, maybe somebody will look at Michelle Dockery and go, you know what? You deserve to be in something that's good. Can we give you this new project and then set her on the right track? Michelle Dockery is the best thing about this film. I wouldn't recommend it otherwise. If you're blind and low vision, do not bother. I sit through stuff so that you don't have to. It does not have audio description. It's also annoying to watch shit on Tubi with commercial interruptions, and they don't even plan them. They just kind of happen. Like, somebody could be like, it could be like a mid-phrase, like somebody's in the middle of a sentence and there's just commercials. It's just like so obnoxious. And with Tubi, there's no way to turn them off. Like, there's no way to just be like, is there Tubi Premium? Not that I would want to, because I only watch things on Tubi like every once in a while, but I mean, I consider it more if they could make better original content. I mean, they do have, if they could support their library titles with more audio description. They have a whole bunch of titles that they get all the time that I know have existing audio description tracks that they just don't bother to track down. So if they did that, I would consider it at least, but nah. For the meantime, they're just like that thing I click on every once in a while. Kind of like the Roku channel. So anyway, I'm gonna give please don't feed the children. It's unwatchable due to lack of audio description. I don't have a strong inclination to say that this is headed in a direction where I would recommend it even with audio description. Could be wrong, but I don't grade films anymore that don't have audio description if I can't follow them at least like 95%. So if I can't feel like I know what the grade is, nope. So yeah, it's just ambiguous, but I think you can pick up from the tone in my voice if you should watch this or not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm going to review some other shit and put it up here on YouTube, and I'll see you guys on the other side.